In case you're wondering, in this video, we tour Palatine Hill. Our tour entered through Porta alle Vignola. The entrance is named after its designer, Giacomo Barozzi da Vignola, who was a renowned architect of the Renaissance. After heading through security, you arrive in a beautiful entrance courtyard with stairs, leading up the hill, on all sides. The arched caves, built into the wall right in front, were actually storage rooms for food and supplies. Taking the stairs to the left, we headed up to see some of the key sites across this ancient city. Palatine Hill is one of the oldest parts of ancient Rome. According to legend, the hill was where Romulus founded the city of Rome in 753 BC. It was the site of the city's most affluent residences, and became the preferred location for the homes of emperors and aristocrats. Our first main stop was looking over the Stadium of Domitian, a partially intact stadium, built by the Roman Emperor Domitian between 81 and 92 AD, as part of his imperial palace. The stadium was used for a variety of purposes, including athletic contests, chariot racing, and gladiatorial shows. The stadium was the first permanent venue for competitive athletics in Rome. It could seat up to 30,000 spectators, and was part of the larger complex of buildings that included a public bathhouse and a temple dedicated to the goddess Isis. We then walked up another level, to view the immense size of Palatine Hill. The building on the right in the distance, was built back up to the original height of the palace. We then walked across, what once was a massive floor, towards the Domus Augustana, or House of Augustus. The Domus Augustana was a vast and lavish palace complex, as Palatine Hill was the site of the city's most affluent residences. It became the preferred location for the homes of emperors and aristocrats. In fact, the word palace comes from Palatine Hill. Walking through this section, you can see some patches of the original floors. The ancient Romans used a variety of stones for flooring on Palatine Hill, including travertine, tuff, and marble. The buildings on the Palatine Hill were some of the most impressive and well-built structures in ancient Rome. They were built to last, and they have stood the test of time for over 2,000 years. Even though much of the remaining structure are bare brick walls, the palace was intricately decorated, and you can see some of the columns on the ground, giving a glimpse of how lavish these buildings were. The holes you see in the walls were used to hold scaffolding during construction. Once the brickwork was complete, the buildings were often covered with a layer of stucco or plaster, as shown by the two patches on the right under the large arch. As you pass through the halls, you also notice some of the restored, elaborate stonework hanging on the walls. This stonework and grand height of the halls, again give you a sense of the opulence of these residences in their day. It is amazing that all of these walls and foundations are still standing. In order to make the buildings earthquake resistant, the Romans used a technique called opus quadratum, which involved laying bricks in horizontal and vertical layers, alternating the orientation of the bricks with each layer. Peering over the edge of one wall, you can admire the rejuvenated Fontana del Pelt, Fountain of Pelters, named that way for the four opposing pelters, Amazon shields, that decorated it. Water was restored to this fountain in 2021, and you can now enjoy a water show, complete with music. The Domus Augustana was the main residence of the Roman Emperor Augustus and his family. It was a vast complex of buildings that covered an area of over 30 hectares, or over 50 football fields. The palace included a number of luxurious gardens, apartments, and baths. The next stop in the palace was the Senatio Iovis, also known as the Banqueting Hall of Jupiter. This was the most important dining room of the palace, and it was used for hosting banquets and official ceremonies. You can see the intricately designed floors, inlaid with a mosaic of marbles from ancient Egypt, Greece, Chios, and Numidia. Notice that the floors are wavy, caving in from the weight into the hollowness below. This is because these ancient floors were actually heated from underneath. Amazing that they had this luxury over 2,800 years ago. In the center of Palatine Hill, you can find the Museo Palatino. The museum was established in 1938, during the regime of Italian dictator Benito Mussolini. The museum's design is characterized by its simple, austere lines, which were intended to reflect the principles of fascist architecture. Our tour continued into the Domus Flavia Palace complex. The complex was built by the Emperor Domitian in the late 1st century AD, and it served as the official residence of the Roman emperors until the 3rd century AD. The Domus Flavia was the center of power in the Roman Empire during Domitian's reign. It was where he met with his advisors, received foreign dignitaries, and held lavish banquets. It was designed to be a grandiose and luxurious residence, with magnificent courtyards, gardens, and reception halls. The palace was a symbol of Domitian's power and prestige. The Domus Flavia was damaged by a fire in the 3rd century AD, and was subsequently abandoned. We also got a glimpse of some underground passages. There is a popular legend that one of the Roman emperors, Caligula, was obsessed with secrecy, and was convinced that there were plots against his life. He allegedly ordered the construction of the underground passages, as a way to move around the city undetected, and avoid assassination attempts. Next we passed by the Farnese Aviaries. The aviaries consist of 2 large buildings connected by a covered bridge, with numerous outdoor enclosures and terraces. Next to the aviaries are the Farnese Gardens, which include orange trees, like the ones that were planted in the 16th century by Cardinal Alessandro Farnese, who was the nephew of Pope Paul III. Giacomo Boni, one of the archaeologists who led the excavation campaigns on the Palatine, was buried in this garden. His tomb is at the foot of a tall palm. Our tour ended at the Terrazza Belvedere del Palatino, also known as the Palatine Terrace. The terrace is actually a relatively new addition to the Palatine Hill. It was opened to the public in 2017, after a 2-year renovation project that aimed to restore and enhance the historical site. It is situated at the highest point of the Palatine Hill, and you can walk to the very edge of the terrace to see an unobstructed view of the ancient ruins of the Roman Forum, as well as the modern city below. It is also an important archaeological site, as it was built on top of a complex system of underground tunnels and cisterns that were used to collect and distribute water in ancient Rome. Looking down, it is impressive to see the continued renovation projects, and it is a shock to realize that you are actually on the 3rd floor of a building, and there are many levels below, still to be excavated. From this terrace, definitely spend some time marveling at what our civilization was able to accomplish so many centuries ago. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please share and subscribe.